01 order type. Then just let us create an order for ZA01. Give some material, some quantity. Okay, just check the incompletion. Nothing, the document is complete. Now we will save this order. And now this straight fare order 01 order 15585 has been saved. So this is the sales order we have created. Okay. Okay, now we will go to the exercise. What they are saying on set up copy control for delivery document. Now assign copying requirement 051 in copying control for delivery type LF from order type ZA01 in our case. So target delivery is LF, sales source is ZA01, order requirements 001, combination requirement 051. Assign routine 001 so that all information is copied over in the delivery. So let us go to copy control. So copy control for delivery. So how deliveries will be created? It will always be created from sales order. So there is only one option for delivery creation. Go to SPRO. Go to logistics execution because it is delivery. So go to shipping. Go to basics shipping functions. No, okay, what is this? Not basic deliveries, copying control, specific copy control for deliveries. So now go to change mode. Okay, now our source is target delivery is LF and our source is ZA01. So we will check the copying control or the header. So here they was just to assign order requirements 001 and combination requirement 051. So it is already assigned here. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So now we don't need to do anything here. Now because of this, what will happen when we create an order or a delivery from by referring to that order, then we will the data from the order will be copied into the delivery. So now they are asking us to create a delivery. So now let us create delivery from that order. So VL01N with the transaction to create delivery. Here, what is the shipping point we will use? Let us go to the order and find out the shipping point. Double click on the line, go to shipping tab. Shipping point is 1201. So here we'll put 1201. Selection date, check the schedule line. What date the order is confirmed? It is confirmed for 19th. Okay, so put 19th here. This is the order number. Press enter. See, now it is trying to create the delivery by referring to the order. We only gave the order number, delivery date, and the shipping point. So you can see all the information is now copied from the sales order. So then we have to save the order. Then you attempt to save it. The delivery will get created. So that is it, right? So what more you want now here? Now you display the delivery created. Now go to VL03N and now you are displaying the delivery. So that is it. It is over.
Yeah.
Now similarly set up the item level. So item level you need to set up. So if you go to the item level here in the copy control, so I came out of that. So let me again go back. So similarly the copy control we saw at the header level. Same thing we have to do at the item level. You only read the first two lines in that and you are not gone into the details. So first that's what I'm telling you. You should always go into the details and then you should come to a conclusion. Copying control, specify copy control. So now we go to position, delivery type. Select the item. So what is the item category in the order? It was TAN. Item category order is TAN. So here we will select the source item category TAN. Select this, go to details. Here what they have mentioned, item order requirement is 101 and item data is 699. So order requirement is 101, item data is 699. Then we need to select update document flow. So we have selected this update document flow. Now as a reference, use one of the orders created in the previous exercises. We need to create a delivery and we need to check whether the information is copied at the item level. So that is it.
Yes, sir. We'll look at
This is
this.
very simple, right? So why you're not done? I don't understand.
I didn't go further, sir.
Yeah,
I just
please
came out
look
of.
into each and everything and try to do maximum whatever you are able to do. Assignment of requirement routine, and that is fine, that we cannot do. So that you can ignore, but others you should do. I don't know why you are not able to do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sir, I have to ask. Yeah, I have to ask one thing. Another is that, see, when we have created a quotation, and based on that quotation, means with reference to that quotation, we have created and delivery. Sorry, order, sales order. So does the header data is also copied from that quotation or not? Means, see, we have given some name in the header data in order data tag. So does that name copied to the sales order or not?
You need to check that. So you have to create one quotation and you have to see. We will create one quotation VA 21.
21.
Where you want to maintain the data?
Header level.
Okay, what you want to maintain here?
Name. Name.
Whose name?
Anyone.
Okay. Maintain test name. Now we are saving this. What is the incompletion?
Valid from I.
So this is the quotation. Now we will refer this quotation and we will create one sales order.
Sales order.
So VA01 put OR just go to the header data, order data. No, it is not copied, right?
Yes.
That's what you have to tell. It is not copied. That was your question, right?
And sir, what we have to do if we want to the same name exactly?
If you want to copy, then we need to check in the copy control. We need to check in the copying requirements, or in the data transfer routines, we need to write a code to include that field we need to copy. Like that, we need to write a code. We have data transfer routines, right?
I guess it's based on that routine.
Yeah.
Okay.
Based
Fine.
on that, we need to write the code to copy the data from the quotation to the sales order. Which field you need to copy, you need to tell them.
All right. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so apart from this, any other questions or queries from anyone?
No, sir.
Okay, so you were all able to complete all the exercises which we have covered until now, right? So anybody left up with some exercises, so please try to complete it by today, tomorrow, or within this week, and so that we can take some time next week to revise all these concepts wherever you have any questions or doubts. Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Fine. So let us move ahead with today's session. So far, like we have been discussing the standard sales and distribution processes. So we have come across all the standard ways of creating the sales orders, standard ways of creating the deliveries and invoices, and other transactions that happen in the system within the delivery process, like creation of transfer orders, confirming the transfer orders, packing, posting the goods issue. All these things we are uh, following the standard process. So we have something where, like in different businesses, would require a different kind of enhancement or what to say modifications would be required by different businesses for their specific scenarios which they are having. So to address those kind of specific scenarios, we use something called the enhancement technologies, or we have something called the business add-ins. So other functionalities we can enhance in the SAP system. So today let us look at how to enhance the uh, existing standard sales and distribution process, or how to technically modify the existing standard setup. So we use something called the enhancement technology. So you can see, like there are a few things which we have already done, but you might not have noticed. So for example, um, we have these different types of customizing. So what are the different approaches and techniques for the enhancement technology? So the first one, we call it as the customizing. So customizing, in the sense, we already have a standard setup. So the standard setup will behave in a particular fashion. So if you don't want such a behavior, you can customize the setting. Now, for example, customizing one example is we have a standard sales order OR. So if you, in that, you will see that all the fields are already filled in the sales order definition. So if you don't want some of the behavior of some of the fields, like for example, your standard sales order, you might have assigned delivery LF. So if you don't want to create delivery of document type LF, instead you wanted to create another document type. So then what you do, you go and modify that. I already told you it is always not recommended to modify the standard sales documents which are already present. Not only the sales document, even delivery document or billing document, you should not modify the standard ones. So you can copy the sales document type and you can create your own document type, and there you can go and add your custom or your delivery type which you wanted to trigger from that standard or from this sales order. So that is one kind of customizing that you are doing. This is an example of the customizing. So you go to the SPRO path where we can do all these kind of customizing activities. So this is one example of a enhancement technology. And the second one is the personalization. So personalizations, what you do, for example, uh, you want to suppress some fields. So for example, if in the case of order management, so you are creating the order, so you are belonging to the order management team, so you are not interested about the invoicing details or the terms of payment, all those kinds of things you might not be interested. So for you, we can suppress certain fields in the sales order. So certain tabs you don't need certain tabs, or else for example you are from the accounting department, so you are more interested on the terms of payment or any other accounting related information. So you are interested in account assignment tab only, so you don't need information about the logistics or the delivery process. So certain fields or tabs we can hide for you. So we can do that by creating some transaction variants. So certain fields we can suppress, certain fields we can open it for you depending on your roles in the organization. So that is, we call it as a personalization. And third, modification. So if you are not able to customize, like system has already provided you an option of customizing without making any change in the code, but still if that is not sufficient and you wanted to make more customization, or you are trying to do some other thing like adding a new field, for example, you wanted to capture some important information regarding the truck number, for example, so we can do it in the text. But still if you want the logistics people to see the truck number in the delivery document in the overview screen, then we need a new field there, because we don't have a standard field which displays the truck number. So in those cases we can take the help of ABAP team and we can create a new field and we can write a code to populate that value to that field. So that is called a modification. So you're modifying the system itself to add your own requirement. So then we have something called enhancement. So enhancement means this is the last option. Like if there is no option or opportunity to customize your requirement, you can use enhancements or customer development. So we here what we do, enhancements means we already have some SAP repository objects or some programs where you can add your own logic or the code which you wanted to have. So they are more or less called implicit enhancements or explicit enhancements. What we do is, for example, like we wanted to have some kind of behavior, specific behavior, like see if you are trying to create a condition record. For example, I'm telling you, if you are trying to create a condition record and you wanted to make a few fields mandatory, or you wanted to save the, you wanted the system to allow to save the condition record only if all the fields are filled up. So that is kind of a enhancement. So in the existing setup, the system will allow you to save the condition record even if you don't fill some of the fields. So you don't want that to happen. So only when all the fields are filled up, then only you want the system to allow you to save the condition record. So in those cases, you are trying to achieve something new which does not exist in the system, and that cannot be achieved by the other methods like customizing or personalization or by other kind of modifications. So we can use this enhancement process. So then customer development is nothing but we can create our own programs. So we can copy existing program, create our own program, and we can call those programs inside the standard SAP repository object. So that is one example of the customer development. So here you can see the illustration, whatever they have given, what is their definition of modifications. So you can go through this, like this will be the original SAP system which has the original SAP repository object. So once you do some upgrade or modification, then you can copy that and you can do all your modifications, then you can transport it. So the transport, whatever you're doing, is a copy of the original SAP repository object. So this is how we can perform the changes. So these are all enabled by using the ABAP consultant. So you need to take the help of ABAP consultant, and you need to tell them like whatever are the modifications that you need in the system, and you should provide all the functional details to them so that they will be able to make the changes inside the system. It's because you cannot do all these changes because you are just a functional consultant. So you can only tell them what is the changes that you need, and those can be uh, done by the ABAP team. So now let us see what is the enhancement type. So there are different types of enhancements. We call it as program enhancement, menu enhancement, or the screen exit. So purpose of the program enhancement, what is the purpose? Is always to call an object in the customer namespace. So program enhancements permit you to execute additional program logic for an SAP application program. So what does this mean? So for example, when you create a sales order, you are trying to save the sales order. At that time, what happens? So the sales order gets saved with a particular number range. So it is always picking the number range from the standard number range table based on the number range assignments which you might have made to the sales document type definition. So if you don't want for a particular sales document type, you don't want that number range to be followed. You can create your own custom table, and you can create a number range set for that, and you can ask the program to take number range from that customized table instead of the standard number range table. So in order to do that, you need to do some modifications in the program. So you need to write some additional program in order to enable this. So that is called the program enhancement. So then we have something called menu enhancement. We already saw many menus like in the toolbar we can see, right? Sales document, edit, extras, environment, all these things. So in addition to that, if you want to add any new menu, then you can go there and you can add it using this menu enhancement. Then we have something called the screen exits. So screen exits means if you want to have some create a new screen. So already we have three type of screens, right? When you create the standard sales order, we have the overview screen, we have the item screen, and we have the uh, schedule lines level. We have one screen, or the overview screen, header, and the item data screen. Three screens we have. So for example, if you want to have a separate screen to view the schedule line, then we can create a screen exit, and we can call that screen exit, and we can view only the schedule line data in that particular screen. So this is not a part of the standard, but we need to do some customizing or write some program to achieve this functionality. So this is what we call as a screen exit. So here the illustration they have given what are the different enhancement techniques. So within SAP, we can have these kind of enhancement techniques. So subroutines, function modules, and then we can have some methods. So when we call this, the customer calls it with customer specific version of their subroutine, customer specific function module, and then we have the customer specific method. So how they achieve it is the technique which is mentioned in the middle. So how we can achieve subroutine with customer specific code is by usage of user exit. Then function module, if you want to have a function module specific to customer, then you can use the customer exit. So all these things you can check how to achieve this. So what are the different enhancement techniques? That is what they have detailed out here. What is a user exit? What is a customer exit? What is a business transaction event? What is business add-in? What are the enhancement points in the system? And what are enhancement sections? So you can go through this, like for example, in a specific program, okay, a point in an SAP program where a customer's own subroutine can be called. So we can create now, for example, today we were talking about routine number 902, which is not available in the system. So if we can create our own routine, and wherever we want, we can call that from the main program. So we can mention that 902 in the main program, and we can, whenever that particular program is getting executed, the system will call that 902. So in the copying control, we can add this 902 routine, and the system will attempt to call that 902 routine when trying to execute the function. So that is called a customer user exit. Customer exit is a special exit function module is called by the SAP application program. The function module is part of the function group that is handled by the system in a special way. So user exit will be handled separately using a subroutine, whereas customer exit will be handled by something called the function module. So inside the function module, so inside a program, we will have something called the function module. So you can make some changes to the function module. So whenever that program gets executed, that function module will be called. So that is called the customer exit. So whatever additional piece of code you want to write, you can write using this customer exit. So you can have a separate transaction we have like SE37, which you can display the function module, whereas SE38 you can use that transaction code to view the program. So we have something called business transaction events. So the SAP application program calls a function module in the customer namespace dynamically. So during the execution, if you want to call some programs, then that is achieved based on business transaction events. Business add-ins. So this is also similar to that, but it will call a particular method of a class or an instance of a class. So these are all more technical details. So we just need to theoretically know what are these terms, and we can, you don't need to worry that it is too technical. So just need to understand what are these things. That's all. So enhancement points, we have something called enhancement sections within the program where you can put in your own code. So already there will be some places where the code would have been written in the standard SAP. So if you want to write your own code or logic, then we need to use these enhancement points or enhancement sections where you can write your own code or logic, because that space would be already provided by SAP to write your own code. So these are called enhancement points or enhancement sections. So this is all about the enhancement technology which we can use in the SAP standard. Like if you want to modify anything, then we have different options like customizing, personalization, modification, and enhancements. So you just go through these theoretical concepts. It is more or less theoretical. So you can just go through this and let me know if you have any further questions or doubts, and we can address them in our later sessions. So now when we have something called the transaction variance. So transaction variance are nothing but like for example, we are creating a sales order. In that, for example, if you want to reduce the width of a particular column, like order quantity or unit of measure or customer material information, so there is specific width of these columns in these standard sales order. So in case if you wish to change the width, you can modify the width of that and you can save that as a transaction variant. So that is possible. So next time when you open the sales order in that particular transaction variant, the width would be the same what you have modified. So you can save it actually. So you can perform following activities to customize the view of data to work easily. So you can change the sequence of the columns. So first now item number is coming, then material number, then material description is coming. So for example, if you want to view the material description first, then we can change the position of the column and then we can save it as a transaction variant. So we can set up the screen according to however we want. A few people, they wanted to have the order always open up in the header overview screen, a header screen instead of overview screen. That we can make some modifications and we can assign the screen sequence group accordingly in the sales order, the sales document type definition. We can do all these kind of modifications, or we can create our own transaction or a screen variance. So similarly, like how we adjust these screens, like we have some options to adjust the lists in sales and distribution. So what are the different lists that we already seen? We have already seen some list in our earlier sessions. One is called the online list and another is called the work list. So work list will always provide you information about the documents that are due for delivery, or documents that are due for invoice creation. Those are called work lists. On the other hand, we have other lists, like for example, a list of sales orders, or list of billing documents, list of contracts. All these things are different kinds of lists or report functions which we are using. So there are different options in the list where we can make certain modifications to the layout and the way in which these lists look like. Now for example, let us take some example of VA05 screen and see how we can modify them. So let us go to VA05, which displays the list of sales orders. So we can give some sold to party T-L67B21. So this is a sold to party. We'll give the organizational data 101000. Now we wanted to open this. What are the selection criteria we have given here? If you see, we have given document date from 8th of September to 8th of October, all the orders. So now if you want to see only open sales orders, you can select and you can press enter. It will open up the sales orders. So now here we have this option of choosing our own layout. So these are all the columns which are currently displayed. So if you want to have few more columns, like you want to know who created that order, you can select this, and if you put the arrow, select this arrow here, the created by will come this side. Now you can adopt this. Now here you see created by is come now. So I can see some orders created by me, some created by other people. So we know now who has created all these orders. Okay, so this is one option. Now we can have this layout. We can save this as a layout. Like for example, we can create our own layouts. So this is select layout. So we can go and we can create our own layout and make it as user specific. If you make a layout as user specific, the system will open in that layout only when I go and select it. Otherwise it will open in the standard default layout. So these are the different layout settings. So now this is the layout in which we have opened this. So now if you want to open this in this layout, then if you apply that layout, this layout might look a little different. So this is about the layout, and we have option of subtotal. So if you select this, and if you want to see what is the total quantity, then you can go here and we can select the subtotal. So it says that subtotals cannot be calculated over totalizable fields. So this, it is not allowing you to calculate the subtotal. Then we have something called the filter. So if you want to filter, you can select this column, and if you go and select filter, then only one material you want to view here. For example, I am telling you. So there are different materials. So you want to view only one material. You can select only this material. You want to view all the sales orders created only for this material. Then you can select that material. And if you adopt that, execute, you will see that it displays orders only created for those materials. So we can sort it in ascending order, descending order. You can select and go into the details. You can select all, deselect all. So all these options are available in the system. So one important thing is the layout. You can use the layout. You can add fields whichever you want to view, and we can create your own layouts and you make your layout as the default setting, or you can make your layout as specific to particular user. So this is about how we modify the lists and the reports. So for any report, we can perform these operations. So for any customized reports which you are creating also, we can create all these modifications we can apply. So any doubts on this so far? So
No, sir.
No, sir.
okay, so you can go through this theoretical part. They have already given you all these things here. So this should not be a big deal for you. So if you have any doubts, you can ask me. So then controlling customer master data using account groups. We already seen last few weeks back what is account group, how you handle the account groups. So account groups is the basis for creating the customer master. So any customer you create will be created for a particular account group. So we use sold to account group, ship to account group. Many such account groups exist, and we can also create our own account groups. So what is the basis of creating the account group is like we can suppress a few fields, we can make few fields as optional, we can make few fields as mandatory. So we have already seen this in more detail in our last few weeks back when we started our session. So that is what they have repeated here on how to control the customer master data using account groups. So just for the benefit of everyone, let me again revisit this concept. So we can go to SPRO, SAP reference IMG. Can go to financial accounting, financial accounting, accounts receivable and accounts payable, customer accounts, master data, preparations for creating customer master data. Here, define account groups with screen layout customers. So you can select this. Okay. So here you can select this account group. For example, you can copy this and you can create your own account group. So if you copy this, you can change the account group name Z111, for example. So this is, we can create your own account group and select this and go to the details screen, details. Here you see we have general data, company code data, and sales data. These are the three views in which you can open a customer master. So if you select the general data, it will give all the tabs that would be present inside the general data. So in the general data, we have these tabs, and inside this, it will have all these fields. So here you can suppress few fields. We can make few fields as required. We can make few fields as optional. Few fields with only display. You can make, if you select one field as a display, then you will not be able to make any changes. It will be always in the display mode only. So likewise, you can go to sales area data, and there also it will display all the tabs that are relevant for this, and inside this the fields will be displayed. So for sold to, you can suppress the fields related to shipping or billing. Similarly, when you create a customer with ship to account group, you can suppress the fields that are relevant for sold to and bill to. When you create a customer with bill to account group or a payer account group, you can suppress the fields that are relevant to logistics, shipping, or sales. So this way you can minimize the efforts that would be required to fill all the fields. Otherwise, the system will keep on prompting them to fill some irrelevant fields. A guy who is being created as a payer, he doesn't need to have information about shipping point or shipping conditions or Incoterms. So why he has to fill all those fields? So it is not required. Similarly, a guy who is going to create a customer as a ship to, he doesn't need or he doesn't care about the fields related to payer, like payment terms, tax related information, accounting related information. So for them, you can suppress those fields. So account groups basically gives us the flexibility to create the customer master in the way we want. So we don't need to take more efforts in creating the customer master. So instead, we can use these account groups and simplify the work. So that is the basic importance of having these account groups. So once the account groups are created, then you can use them in the customer master. So account groups are also used for other functionalities, like you can assign the partner determination procedures to these account groups, and you can assign the text determination procedures to the account groups. For any determination, data determination that happens at the customer master level, it is always the account group which comes into picture, where you need to assign the details to the account group, like how we assign the text determination procedure to the document type at the header level, and similarly we assign text determination procedure to the item category. Similarly, we account group will be play a key role when you want to make some assignments. The assignments for text determination or output, all these things, partner determination will be assigned at the account group level. So any doubts on this account group, because it is a very important concept, and this more questions you can expect from interview perspective or from a certification point of view. So you need to ensure that you are clear about this account group, why it is used, and what are the things that you can perform using the account group. Any doubts on this, guys?
No, sir.
No, sir.
So there are some exercises which already you might have seen in using these account groups. So try to revise them and revisit this account group concept frequently, so that you will get to know the flexibilities in creating the customer master. So while creating a customer master, if you feel that some fields you're not able to fill some values, or you're facing some issues, then you can make them optional, or you can suppress those fields also. So that is up to you. So this flexibility the customer account group is giving you. So this is very, very important. You need to understand them in full. Okay. So now that is all about the customer account groups. And then I have already told you all these details in this SAP screen. So you can read through these concepts, whichever I have told you. So this is all about customer account group. Then adjusting the screen setup of a transaction using transaction variance. So how to adjust the screen setup. So screen variance, the transaction variant is made up of screen variant. So we can create our own transactions also. So how do we create our own transactions? So for example, we can, instead of VA01, we can create our own transactions. So for example, let us look into how to create our own transactions. So here, let us go to SPRO. SAP reference IMG. So go to SAP NetWeaver, general settings, field display characteristics, configure application, transaction fields. Here, for which transaction code you want to create a screen variant, you can give A01 for this transaction code. You can go to create a transaction variant. You can create, for example, this transaction variant. You can add transaction variant, you can create. So what is order type? So for example, this will call the screen, press enter. So these are the fields that will appear whenever you attempt to create a sale order. So that is what is displayed here. So which tables, which fields it will display here. So if you want to change anything, you want to make any fields invisible or make any fields mandatory, you can check. That's the reason why you see a few fields being displayed as mandatory and a few fields are displayed as optional, and a few fields are suppressed also. So here in this particular screen, whatever you see is a sales org, distribution channel, division, sales office, sales group. So these are the fields that you see here. So in this, if you want to make any field as required, if you, for example, if you tick this sales org here, then if you don't give sales org here, system will not allow you to go into the next screen. Here it is not made as required. That's why even if you don't enter anything in the sales org, distribution channel, division, or sales office, sales group, the system is taking you to the next screen. However, if you don't enter the order type, the system will stop you from the processing. So then let us exit and save. So now just give some short test 1, 2, 3. Then we can save this as a transaction. Inside this, we'll use some package and save this. So now we have seen this screen variant. We have created this screen variant. Now we can create a transaction variant. Now we can create our own transaction. So now we can give our transaction code name. So we can give, this will be our transaction code name. So we'll give some test transaction 2. So we will say this. So now this is a transaction which we are going to use in future for VA01. So for VA01, we are using this transaction. So we will save this. So we can save this now. So we will copy this. So this is the transaction code we have created for VA01. So if you put this transaction, if you enter here, it will call VA01 only. So it is calling VA01. So instead of VA01, we can use this transaction. So this is how you can create your own transaction codes in the system. So if you want to add this transaction code to your favorites, you can select favorites, you can right click, insert transaction. So you can put your transaction code and save. So this will appear here as a favorite. So every time you can just double click, it will create your own. It will call your transaction. So this is how we can create our own transaction codes. So some customized transaction codes, if you want to create, you can create it. So any doubts on how to create your own screen variants and transaction variants?
No, sir.
How about others?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Okay, good. Let us move further. So adding new fields, we have already seen how to add new fields, like we can pull the fields from the field catalog. So during condition technique, we have already seen this on how to add new fields into the field catalog. So in case if you are trying to create a condition table, we need certain fields. So in case if your fields are not present, then we can add our fields into the condition table. So we have seen that. So anyone has any question on how to add new fields into the field catalog?
No, sir.
Okay, so you're all clear on the field catalog. So if you don't find your field in the field catalog, then you need to add them by going into the new entries option. So once your field is available in the field catalog, then you can use that field to create your condition tables. So that is about adding new fields. So we have some reserve fields in material master or in the customer master, which we can use with some pre-filled values. So every time, for example, if you go to the customer master, so let us go to customer master display, will display one customer. So in this, there are few fields which are used as reserve fields. So you go to extras, you give additional data. So go to sales area data, go to additional data. Here you see these are the fields which are not used. So these are all called the reserve fields. So we can populate these fields with some values and we can pull these into our transactional documents by writing some code or making some changes to the routines. So what we can do here is, for example, if you want to have customer group 1 filled with value 0001, for example. See, these two I created yesterday. So now these values are coming here. Earlier, if you no values were appearing here. So these are all like the values which we can create and we can populate it like the F4 fields we can see here for customer group 3, customer group 4 or customer group 5. We don't have this F4 help. If you give, there are no match codes or no options, but for customer group 1 you see that there is one 000, 001 and 01. So this we have added using customizing. So now if you want, we can use that by going into change mode maybe. So now we have populated this customer group. Sorry. We have populated this customer group 1 with this value. So now we will save this, and whenever you wanted to have this pulled up in your billing document, we can do that. We have some exercises to do that. So you can look into those. So after now we create this customer. So first you need to understand how to bring that option 001 there. For that, you need to make some customizing. So you can go through this exercise like how to get that value there. So it is very clearly explained here using the system modifications. So once this value is present, you can check in the order header. You can create your order and you can see if this value is populating there. But there could be some challenges because of the requirement routines which may not be present. So just we need to understand on how to use the reserve fields. So we can how to bring the options to those fields and how to add them. So that I think you can go through this. So it is pretty clear and straightforward. So let us try to create a customer sales order and let us see if this value gets populated there. So here you can see the customer group has come now. Can you see this?
Yes, sir.
So this is come from the customer master's reserve field. So the customer master was having some reserve fields. So what we actually did was like we gave some options there. So earlier there were no F4 options. So we created some F4 options and we populated that customer group 1. We selected one of the value and then we saved it. And then when we create an order for that customer, in the customer group 1, the value is coming now here. So that is what I wanted to check. Now, for example, I will tell you just orally, I will tell you how do we add options to those fields. So customer group 2 or 3 or 4, 5 did not have any options. So now if we can go to SPRO, XAP reference IMG, inside sales and distribution, system modifications, create new fields. So here without condition technique. So copy customer master fields, sorry, reserve fields in the customer master record. So we have the reserve fields in customer. So we can go to data type. So that particular data type of that field is KVGR1. So you can go to display this. So here you can go to, this is the domain, and if you go to, if you double click on this, go to the value range. There you see the value table is TVV1. So let us go to that table in transaction SM30. So SM30 is another way of displaying a table where you can make some modifications into the table. So you can go here, put the table, go to customizing. So continue without specifying project. can go here, maintain reserve fields. So for example, let us try to add some value to customer group 3 field which was empty. Select this customer group 3. Here, create new entry. We will put this value 003 and description is test 1, 2, 3. Now we will save this. Now let us go back and go to customer master and let us check if this value in the customer group 3 has come there, whichever we added here. Let's go to extras, additional data. So customer group 3. So this is what is the match code we added. So the 003 is appeared here. Now we will select it here and we will save this. Now when we attempt to create a customer sales order for this customer, customer group 3 also will get populated in the sales order. We will go to VA01. Now we'll go to extras, or sorry, we go to header data, additional data A. Now it just automatically come here. Can you see this?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so this is how we can use the reserve fields in the customer master, and also in material master also we have some reserve fields like this. So those fields will not have any options in F4. So even if you press F4, it will not have any match code. So if you want to populate them, then you can use this method and then we can bring that into the sales order. So from the sales order to billing, if you want to carry this value, then we need to make some changes to the copy control. So we need to have a routine where it will consider this value as well. So unfortunately, we don't have that routine created in the copy control. So we may not be able to see this being copied over to the billing document. But let us understand until this that how to use the reserve fields in the customer master and the material master. So material master also you may have some reserve fields which you can populate using this way. So are you guys clear on this?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So then the we have how to implement the routines. So I will take you through one specific transaction called VOFM transaction, where you can write your where you can view all these details about the data transfer routines or requirement routines, etc. So this interface business bench. Okay. I will show you VOFM transaction. So we have a specific transaction called VOFM. So this is the VOFM transaction. So here, when we were discussing about the copy control, I told you about data transfer routines, requirement routines. So where are they actually placed? So for example, if you have copying requirements, so you can select. So what are the copying requirements that are classified under orders, deliveries, billing documents? So if you select orders, these are the copying requirements which we usually see when we try to create a copy control from order to order or from order to billing. So these are all the different requirement routines. So if you want to add, we can add our own routine. Like we can add 902, for example, give some description, test. But we don't have an access key. So the system does not allow us to proceed further. We need to have an access key. So to have an access key, you should be a technical consultant or an ABAP. ABAP people will have this access key which they need to give, and then only the system will take you to allow you to create a requirement routine. So now you might have understood why we cannot create a requirement routine.
Got it, sir.
So access is refused. So as a functional consultant, you will not be able to add or create your requirement routines. The system will not allow you. So you can only view the existing routines. So similarly, data transfer routines for orders, deliveries, billing documents. So these are the data transfer routines which we saw 155, 101. These are all the data transfer routines which we have seen in the copy control. So this is present here. Then requirements for pricing. If you see inside pricing procedure, we had a field called requirements. So we have populated there many requirements for EDI1 output, EDI2 output. We have populated 9 and 10. So all these things are coming from here. So you can create your own routines for pricing and you can add it here, and whenever you want you can select the required routine here from here. So this is about the requirement controls for pricing. So then formulas we have. So we have seen some fields in the pricing procedure for how to calculate the condition based value, how to have the alternate calculation type if you want to bypass a certain calculation type. So if a calculation is happening based on quantity, and if you want to bypass that and you want to have the calculation happen on base of weight in case of freight conditions, then we need to specify an alternate calculation type or alternate scale based value. So all these things we can create it here. So these are the different condition based values that are available in the system. So you can create your own, but we need to take the help of the ABAP. So this is a VOFM setting. So here the system is provided you multiple options to create or view your own requirement routines, copying requirements, data transfer routines, or requirements related to pricing or output. So output also, if you see in the output determination procedure, we added our output type and there was a field called requirement. So if you want to have any specific requirement, like certain conditions you wanted the system to meet before triggering that output, then we can specify that as a requirement. So any doubts on how to use this VOFM transaction from anyone?
No, sir.
No, sir.
No, sir.
Okay. So then we have certain concepts related to so I have shown you these routines. So VOFM, what and all we can use. So then we will look at what is user exit. So user exit is a point in SAP program where a customer subroutine can be called. The customer subroutines is edited in special includes. So we have some keyword called include. So inside that, if you write a code, then that is what we call it as an user exit. So when the system is executing a particular program, so it will look for the includes and it will call the specific subroutines which we have written. So the call of the subroutine is at the same place. These conventions ensure that you can enhance SAP programs released independently and without adjusting the modifications. So user exits are generally modifications, and they call this user exit using this includes. So if you want to know what are the available user exits, then you can go to sales and distribution, system modification, user exits. So for example, can go to SPRO. Sales and distribution, system modifications, can go to user exit. So we can check what are the existing user exits. So user exits in sales. So user exits in sales document processing. We can check if there are any user exits. So it will call up the SC38 transaction, which is nothing but the transaction to view the program. So here you can select your own user exit, and if you give display, it will display the source code. If you want to exit that, you can execute this program. It will call the transaction. So this is how we can view the user exits. So then we have something called customer exit. So customer exits are generally enhancements, and so as I told you, like a specific customer might have some specific requirements on how to execute a particular transaction or a program. So to facilitate that, we have this concept of enhancement. So we have we can use this system modification code smod. So here we can see what are the enhancements that are present in the system. So these are all some of the enhancements that they might have written. So we can select our own. If you want to view any enhancement, just for example, we can display. So these are the components for that. So now can display the documentation. So the documentation will carry you to the why this is written. So if you want to test. You can execute this and see this is written in the function exit, and this is the exit. You can double click on that, it will take you to the user exit. So this is the code what you see for this particular exit. So we may not able to understand this. So this is the user exit. User exits are already written in the keyword include. So this is a user exit. So if you double click, it will take you to that user exit. So you may not be able to understand this, but still it says that the include does not exist. So it's asking us whether we can create this include. So let us give no, because this is not yet created in the system. They have just mentioned it, but not created. So this is how the user exit or the enhancements would look like. So inside the sales order program, for example, SAP MV45A is the sales order program. So if you want to look that program, you can go to AC38 and go into SAP MV45A. So you can go and display the sales order program. And inside that, if you want to view any user exits, can select any. See, these are many includes here. You can see, sorry, many includes they have already written. So all these includes are nothing but the user exits. So there could be blank spaces inside this code. So where you can insert and write your own code using this include keyword. So we can double click on this include. So this is the include. This is how the user exit would look like. So this is just an example they have created. This does not actually do anything. So they have just given some comments and they have updated some content. In actual case, this does not get executed because there is no actual code here. So this just I am just trying to show you how a user exit would look like. So there are different function module exits, user exit, customer exits. Then we have something called the business transaction events. So business transaction events allow you to implement additional logic in standard code similar to program exits. SAP application programmers determine where to place business transaction events in standard code and what data the system needs to transfer at each point. So it will be like always the system would be transmitting some kind of data from SAP to another systems. So in those cases, we need to have this business transaction event. So based on some transactional events, so that could happen for when a delivery gets created. It is called as a transaction event. So when an invoice gets generated, it's called a transaction event. So at that particular points of time, if you want to transmit that information to another system, then these business transaction events will help. So they will write some specific code inside these function modules or these user exit. Similar to user exit, we have something called the program exit where they will write the code. And whenever a transaction event is happening, so whenever an event happens, like a delivery gets created or invoice gets created, then it will generate an output and it will try to send the information to the external system. So I know it would be too technical for you to understand this at this point of time, but just you can try to read through this, and if you have any doubts or questions, maybe you can ask me at a later point of time. So we have something called the business add-ins also. So business add-ins also similar to customer exits. So they will also allow you to share information between different systems as such. So these are the different components of a business add-in. So it has an interface, it will have a class, and it will have some tasks within that class. So just go through this theoretical concepts. So you may not be having any technically, you will not be able to have this or use this. So just go through these theoretical concepts. So there will not be much importance for this in your certification, or even for that matter from interview point of view. There will not be much queries asked you for these kind of technical things. You will not, you will just you are expected to know what these are, but you don't need to worry much about this. So you can take some time and go through these theoretical concepts, and then maybe if you have any doubts, maybe we can discuss them in the next sessions on Monday. So any doubts so far on whatever we discussed on the enhancements or the system modifications?
No, sir.
No, sir.
No, sir.
Okay. So maybe you can take some time now, and you can continue with your practical sessions, because we have almost come to the end of this module. So if you have any doubts, maybe we can discuss that now from the beginning, or if you want to revisit any specific concepts, we can do it now.
Sir, pardon me. What we have?
Sorry.
What you have told us the last sentence? Pardon,
No.
please.
No. If you are having any specific queries on any concepts, or you want me to revisit any topics, then we can do it now. Otherwise, you can continue with your practical sessions. That is what I told you.
Okay. Yeah. Sir, you were about to send an email to us yesterday regarding that
Which one?
PDFs.
Mm.
Email. Yeah,
Yeah.
PDF.
Sorry, I forgot. Maybe 1 second. I will send it to you.
Yeah.
I will share that email. Just give me some time. I will share it.
Okay.
So any other specific doubts you have which we wanted to discuss today?